What about the women who need transparency, who need companies to take on that unnecessary burden to deal with the problem so they can feed their families equally to the way men who work can feed their families?
I don't think there's a whole lot of disagreement here. I completely understand and agree that there needs to be transparency, and I too am blessed to have a great boss who is willing to let me have that seat at the table, or encourage me to have that seat at the table, and encourage me professionally. But what I don't want, and I think where the fundamental difference is that I do not agree that putting more government into this problem is going to be a solution. I actually think it's going to take us backwards. And so where I think we need to focus, and where I think if the Democrats were being honest with us and with the public, is that we'd start focusing on jobs and the economy. And those are things that if they were to look at the 40 pieces of legislation that the House has passed that would tackle the economy and the fact that women are being hurt under this economy, then we would actually be able to move forward. But instead, here we have this conversation that it seems very political because of the timing that they bring it up, and that they're not willing to actually have an honest conversation and use math that makes sense.
Okay, I'll talk about the political timing. There isn't. I mean, this was the first thing the president did with the Lilly Ledbetter Act. There was no reason for it politically except that it was the right thing to do. And it seems to me you've got House Republican Conference Chairman Kathy McMorris Rogers as the only GOP woman in leadership in either chamber, and a concerted effort now. It seems to me you guys could use a little good politics as it pertains to women, especially given the last presidential election.
Well, on the politics, I disagree on the timing. I think that what we have seen since the president has been in the White House, they controlled the House, they controlled the Senate, they controlled the White House, and they did not do this. Instead, what we see is this creeps up every time the Democrats are struggling with their messaging. When Obamacare is really struggling, when the economy is really struggling, that's when they all of a sudden shift and they have this quote-unquote war on women. And that's really, no, I'm not saying this is about Obamacare. I'm saying when the Democrats have nothing to talk to the voters about, they tend to talk about this, and it's unfortunate because we want to have this conversation, and so, this is a good conversation to have, and the transparency is good.
Come back when we have more time, because I think we should have more of a conversation about this, and I don't think it creeps up when they need it. I think this is something our country needs, and I'm really glad you have a seat at the table. I hope you are paid equally for it.